Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we're looking at something that fundamentally changes how organizations understand their own operations. We're diving into Lanthra's Process Evidence Studio, or just PES for short. It's this incredible tool that takes, let's be honest, the most boring thing imaginable, raw, flat files of standard operational data, and completely transforms them into undeniable visual evidence of how work actually gets done. Seriously, if you've ever felt like your company's processes are just a giant black box, you are absolutely going to love this. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to move through 5 key stages of transformation. First, the problem with guessing. Second, bringing data to life. Third, uncovering hidden process realities. Fourth, finding bottlenecks in value. And fifth, action, automation, and beyond. Let's jump right in. Stage 1, the problem with guessing, leaving subjectivity behind. Every transformation journey starts because a leader realizes something is broken. But the immediate follow-up questions? Well, they're usually incredibly hard to answer. Why are your processes failing? And where exactly are you losing money? We usually struggle to answer this stuff because we're forced to rely on what people remember or, well, what they choose to report. And human memory, as we all know, is not exactly the most reliable operational metric, right? So the old way of doing process discovery relies heavily on these endless workshops. You know the ones, whiteboards totally covered in sticky notes that eventually just fall off the wall. It's slow, and it's highly subjective. But the new way? The new way relies on hard evidence. We're talking about using actual event logs and system data. This completely grounds your transformation decisions in what actually happened, instead of what people just think happened. Which brings us to stage 2, bringing data to life, the aha upload moment. Okay, let's dive into how this actually works. Getting started with PS is incredibly simple. You don't need some perfectly integrated, massive enterprise data estate to begin. Nope. You really just need a flat file with a magic trifecta of data points. First, a case ID to group the events. Second, an activity to identify the process step. And third, a timestamp to put those events in order and calculate the time between them. That's it. That is the foundational building block. And in practice, it's so frictionless. You literally just drag and drop your standard CSV or Excel files straight into the studio. Once those 3 data points are in, the platform automatically detects field roles, it joins the datasets, and it runs the entire analytical pipeline. The whole thing is designed to be completely 100% seamless. And the moment that dataset is loaded, you get this huge, immediate payoff, instant validation. Just from a single file, PES can immediately identify thousands of events, hundreds of distinct cases, and completely different process variants across dozens of activities. The fields map perfectly, which takes you instantly from a boring static spreadsheet to a fully loaded analysis-ready environment. Moving right along to stage 3, uncovering hidden process realities, insight generation. Okay, the crucial point here is this. Most organizations think they have one process. They honestly believe they have a single, standard way of doing things. But PES almost always reveals many, many different ways that a process actually flows. This is exactly where the illusion of that perfect, standardized workflow gets completely shattered by real data. Just think about the idealized 10-step happy path. It's that clean, straight line of an order-to-cash process that you might sketch out in a workshop. But then you look at the complex reality. It's like a sprawling, chaotic spaghetti bowl. What you're really dealing with are multiple process variants, caused by things like credit holds, delivery reschedules, and invoice corrections. The data shows exactly how work actually flows, not just how someone designed it to flow in a perfect world. When you dig into the detailed process graph, PES makes all those hidden variants completely visible and, more importantly, measurable. You can see the exact frequency of each variant. For example, say variant 1 is your happy path. It covers maybe 44% of cases and takes 7.2 days. Not bad, right? But then you spot variant 4, and no way. It takes over 5 weeks. By making this visual, consultants and operational leaders can easily spot where cases loop back, where waiting times are piling up, and immediately flag those operational risks. Stage 4, finding bottlenecks and value, quantifying the pain. Now, process maps are great and all, but PES isn't just a visualization tool. Its true purpose is to convert that visual evidence into a real, defensible value case. Think about the last time an invoice just sat indefinitely on someone's desk. Well, the bottleneck analysis heat map instantly flags the slowest transitions in your business, so you can spot exactly that kind of thing. For instance, you might see a transition from invoice sent to customer to payment due date passed with a median wait of over 2 weeks. PS flags these high-severity delays, meaning you know exactly where your process is getting stuck. Those bottlenecks become even clearer when you look at the activity volume map. You'll see these colorful bubbles, and they aren't just pretty pictures. The size represents the actual event volume, and the color represents the median wait time. Dark red bubbles, they point a giant spotlight directly at your long-duration activities. A big red bubble represents real working capital, just tied up in a queue. It shows you exactly where your highest priority targets for automation are hiding out. To truly build a transformation case, we have to translate those visual bubbles into real business impact. When PES highlights a delay, that means the cost of working capital tied up. When it shows rework loops, that translates directly to manual handling costs. SLA breaches, that means revenue leakage and compliance exposure. By connecting the process pain directly to these financial and operational metrics, PES helps you move from just saying, hey, we have a problem, to saying, this is exactly how much money we're losing, and here is exactly what we need to fix first. And all that prioritization comes together beautifully in the evidence summary. This is basically the client-ready view. It clearly states the longest waits. For example, maybe it finds a 1-day wait between order confirmed and outbound delivery. It points out high cycle time variability, too, noting if the slowest 10% of cases take almost 5 times longer than the fastest 25%. It automatically curates these deterministic findings, so you don't have to boil the ocean. You get to focus on the exact process deviations that are actually worth fixing.
Finally, stage 5, action, automation, and beyond, driving to results.
So, we found the problems. How do we actually fix them? Well, this is one of the absolute most powerful features of PES. It actually categorizes your activities into a 4-tier automation classification. It looks at the activities in your process and says, okay, these are perfect for simple API connects. These are ripe for RPA, rules-driven automation. And this one requires AI or large language models because it needs unstructured reasoning. It literally hands you your automation roadmap on a silver platter, all based on hard data.
But here's the thing. PES isn't trying to replace human expertise. It's elevating it. There's this fantastic guiding principle for the product that goes, algorithms score, agents analyze and draft, consultants decide. PES includes an AI copilot to do the heavy lifting of interpreting the evidence and drafting narratives, but the human expert, whether that's a consultant or an internal operations leader, always remains in the driver's seat to make that final strategic call.
Which brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with today. Are you ready to stop guessing? Are you ready to start building your transformation case on hard, undeniable evidence? Your systems already hold this data. It's just sitting there in flat files waiting to be uncovered. But utilizing tools like Process Evidence Studio, you can finally see how work really happens, quantify exactly what it costs, and fix what actually matters. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope it sparked some exciting ideas for your own operations.